If they want to be crabs in a bucket, fuck it, right? Like Andy Cuomo, the old river killer, says, right? Who cares? People are dying, kids are killing themselves at an alarming rate. Who cares? Blame God, right? Blame the federal government, he says. Let's not pass the buck, but let's just pass the buck, right? I don't know why and when people like that was right around when I was in high school, right? The year like the mid 2000s, right? When I don't know nothing, man. We just going with the flow, bro. Like totally, dude. That's right? Like I don't know when that became cool, right? Like probably when the Kim Kardashian rise was coming up, right? That's when like our intellect as Americans started to go down. We started to really not care about shit, but just the glamour, makeup. We started to not really be who we really are, but who we wanted to think we were, right? Right? That's why when you like see the Kardashians with their makeup on, you're like, whoa, who the fuck is that? Right? Right? That's why I tell you, if you on your first date, you take them to a water park or somewhere where they can get wet. That way you don't have to wake up and find out the hard way. Just trying to let you guys know. That's a little tip. Right? But what I'm saying is there's a reason why stupid people, like, or as Andy Cuomo, the old river killer, would say, incompetent government that kills people. There's a reason why they like their citizens dumbed down. There's a reason why they like it when you guys, especially native-born Americans, right, don't know our own system, but then have foreigners from even Somalia, like Ilhan Omar, right, or or people from Romania and other countries like that, right, which people say is lesser than us, right, shithole countries, right, whatever, not as far advanced as us, right, but yet how come they can come here and prosper and make businesses? They know how to work the system. They know how they know where to go and stuff like that. Most of them aren't begging off the government like native born Americans are. They're having businesses, or even if it's Uber Eats and driving, they're doing that as a side thing. They have other things going on, and they know more about our own government system than native born. And there's a reason why they like that. So that you guys can't go, hey, this is fucked up, and get them out and put somebody in there that knows how to do things or how to figure things out. They like it like that. They figured out, right, that they can sit there and really not do even the bare minimum and make a lot of money and stay there for a long time. Like Pelosi has been there since God knows when, right, the turn of the century, right? All of them combined, all of the people most in Congress combined have like 1 million years on this planet, right? But yet they can't even make the roads right. They may have failing infrastructure. They can't even, they drag their feet any every time about anything and everything. This is incredible and mind-boggling and baffling to me that people just let this go on and defend it. That's baffling to me. That's like Stockholm syndrome, statism. You know what I mean? And then people want to blame all this other stuff. And then now the same government that has people such an idol worship of them want to say out there and say that the other one of them is domestic terrorist and wants to attack and go after them. People act like this is new though, but let's remember Julian Assange, Edward Snowden, and Bradley Manning. Those three of them in recent memory, right? That were jailed and tortured and even exiled for being a dissident of the government, right? For just and most of them telling the truth. So why would we expect anything different from this government, right? Especially now that we see, right, Joe Biden campaigning, talking about, I'm going to be a moderator and can't go through executive orders all the time unless you use a dictator. Yeah, and it was in the basement like the whole time and covering from everybody was saying this and that, right? We know this, right? That's why they put him in there like that. I showed you the video earlier. He said he has no idea what the fuck he's signing, that he wanted you to give it to the president, right? He thought he was running for the Senate, right? This is insane shit. But we're all cool with it, right? Because they got us fighting over this. They got AOC, the girl that cried wolf, saying all this other bullshit. Our kids are in school. Joe Biden on January 6th said our children are watching this. Is this the kind of like country we want for them? Is this the kind of model we want them to see and live up to? Or should we strive to be better and do better? Because I think that's what we should be doing, right? Otherwise, how are we going to have a better society if all that we're doing is making them dumber, poorer, and angrier, and telling them that they have no future, no hopes, no dreams, no nothing, right? Everything just sucks, blah, 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 right? The world's going to end in 10. What kind of benefit is doing any of this? What kind of benefit is blaming one side of the country or the other half of the country because they think or be different than you? What is this benefiting? Just think about that. What is benefiting that, right? 2 weeks is a curvature, right? Then everything back to normal. It's been 10, 11 months. Our kids are being in the middle of all this, monkey in the middle, and they're the ones that are losing the most and being abused the most and neglected the most. But yet we like to prop them up, right? As virtue signaling props, like carried up, like I've said before, right? Like that's fucking. This is like sadistic, right? And you guys should be shamed for that. Okay. Like, where the fuck are the adults? That's what we need right now. We need some adults, okay? Because a lot of these people need to be really in timeout, right? Nobody puts baby in a corner, but they need to be, right? I mean, people are getting sick of it. Let's watch this little video real quick of what I'm talking about.
You should all be fired from your day jobs. Because if your employers knew that you were more inefficient than the DMV, you would be
doesn't want to load.
replaced in a heartbeat. I literally just finished a conference call because I'm having to multitask to be here to address you guys. You're a bunch of cowards hiding behind
It does not want to load. I do not want you guys seeing this. Who's there? Nobody knows. Yeah, see, that's crazy. They don't want you to see it, right? But he goes off. He's like, you know what? He goes off saying that there's people that are digging taking his trash out, right? The garbage men that are risking their lives more than these people are, and they can't even look up or anything. And he says if they can't figure out, then they need to leave and let somebody else take it up, right? He's getting very angry and hostile, right? Not very hostile, but very assertive, right? Which we all need to kind of be, right? They didn't want you seeing that kind of stuff, right? Obviously, and my computer's kind of old, you know what I mean? Just a poor boy from a poor family, right? Nobody loves me, right? Anyway, right? Somebody must have heard that, right? Because someone's getting the memo.
Related to the coronavirus pandemic. It came after Inslee had this to say about teachers who don't feel comfortable returning to work until they get vaccinated.
We're not asking more than we've asked for our grocery clerks. We've asked our grocery clerks to go on site and do their job, and as a result, we have food to eat. We're not asking any more than we ask of bus drivers, who've now gone into buses and make sure that we can commute. It's not anything more than we've asked from our child care providers. And they've stepped up to the plate, or the firefighters, or the police officers.
Now, I know those remarks didn't sit well with some teachers, but here's what a few of you had to say in response on social media. Gene said, "I'm clearly not an Inslee fan, but on this, I totally agree with him." Let's see, Diana, "We all are doing our part. Teachers need to do theirs." Cliff, you're so dramatic. Cliff, "I will always remember this day, kind of like my wedding day or the birth of my first child. I agree with the governor." And look, the governor is right. There are many critical workers who don't have the luxury to say they won't go back to work until they get a vaccine. I mean, can you imagine if healthcare workers or police officers or grocery store workers had stayed home this entire time, the last 10 months? Where would we be without them? We'd be lost. And that's where a lot of kids are right now. They need their teachers. They need their friends. They need to get back to a healthy routine. They need to learn in a way that online classes just cannot provide. Now, of course, returning to the classroom is not a risk-free environment, but even Governor Jay Inslee, someone who has put in place some of the strictest mandates in the entire country, said in December that it can be done safely.
It is time to begin the process of getting more of our students back into the classroom. And we believe we can do this successfully.
Now, despite the governor's belief that teachers should not be moved up on the list for vaccines, we do know that there are other efforts underway to get teachers vaccinated anyway. And while you might not think that's fair, while you might agree with the governor that it doesn't make sense, remember that reopening schools isn't about teachers. It's never been about the teachers. It's about the students. It's about what's doing best for their health, for their well-being. So if getting teachers vaccinated will ultimately help our kids to be happier and healthier by getting them back in the classroom, well, that seems like a worthy trade-off to me.
Right? And we know this, right? But yet, if Jay Inslee can do it, right, and she just said it's the strictest guidelines that they have in the country, right? Why is it that Chicago, it's always Chicago, right? They were striking regardless of anything. They would strike if any day ends with a Y, right? I mean, let's be honest here, right? And Lori Lightfoot, right, needs to put more than just a light foot down. She needs to come actually down and show people that she's actually the mayor. That she actually has some kind of authority. She was going hard. Remember when they were riding down financial districts? She puts up the drawbridges. They couldn't get into the nice areas. Remember that? So she knows how she could put her little foot down unlightfully, right? Come on, Lori. So let's be real, right? You know what I mean? Let's not be intimidated or fear or afraid of some union. Just tell them, hey, check this out. You guys have been doing enough. You guys have taken enough. You guys have been, you know what I mean, unreasonably greedy and slouchy. And it's time for us to start doing what's better for the kids and everything else. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? Let's be honest here. Is this about the kids or is it not? I mean, you know what I mean? Because it seems like these aren't teachers, but leechers. That's what it seems like. And it seems like there's a whole bunch of teachers, right? Because we hear it all the time. The teachers just want to teach. They want to get back into school. They love our children, blah, 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 blah. But actions speak louder than words. And their actions are always about themselves, about the union, about this and about that, right? Well, it turns out that the teachers union have been giving $4 million to who? To who? Joe Biden. And they're like maybe 40, 50 grand to conservatives. You know what I mean? Some little penny, whatever, to show that they're unbiased and equal. Right? That's how that kind of stuff works. But we understand that. But Lori Lightfoot and all these other governors and mayors and stuff need to actually start doing the right thing for the right reasons. All right? And not just virtue signaling and trying to get accolades and stuff like that and thinking about re-election. Because honestly, people understand this just like a good company knows. If you have a good product and a good customer service and everything else, and if you have a good track record, people will come and flocking no matter what. So if you're a public servant and you're doing the right thing and you're doing what's good for the common good, no matter what, re-election will come standard. You don't have to come out there in front and everything else if you're not fucking bullshitting. You know what I'm saying? That's just standard. It's standard. It's like an automatic, like most of y'all be driving anyway. You know what I'm saying? Let's be honest. So Lori Lightfoot and all these other schools, it says right here that Chicago Public Schools, CPS, is not Child Protective Services or, child parental separation. It's just CPS, but Chicago Public School. And and the Chicago's Teachers Union make progress with several agreements, but strike still looms because it's all about the almighty dollar and not the almighty children and education and wisdom and everything else, right? And we're seeing that. So we need to actually have the left actually start owning up and putting their foot where their mouth is and living up to the values and standards that they always keep preaching. Because honestly, or is it you're too busy trying to convince everybody of what you're about and doing instead of actually being and doing about it? Because that's what it looks like. I think now is the time for action instead of just blah 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 blah. Right? Because crabs walk sideways and lobsters walk straight ways. So which ways you want to go? Which way you want to go? Huh? Let's go, motherfuckers. Motherfuckers. Alright. Plus you had that CARES Act, right? Polk County. this will load. I mean, this is an old computer, right? This is like 2012, like end of the world type computer. But like, it's not really loading right now, right? I'm having problems. I have technical difficulties. We'll move on anyway. I kind of remembered it. They arrested 10 people from a 6-long investigation. They're investigating still like 41 people. Investigated from like for CARES Act, right? So the government got like $150 million. They put away $53 million away for this thing, right? And and what happened was there was like a McDonald's manager that was like fortifying these fraudulent, saying that because they needed at least a statement of letter saying that they were fired, and then what they did was saying that these 10 people were, so they collected money that they didn't really need, it wasn't theirs or anything, right? And then they spent it on whatever, God knows what, right? And so they've been arrested for fraudulently doing all that and other crimes that they had been charged with. And so, but it all came from Publix employees and stuff like that, right? And which is now trying to distance himself from the Trump stuff, like the Harris and stuff like that, right? And everybody's trying to do all that kind of stuff instead of actually have a real discussion and debate and see where people stand. They want to assume and label and stuff like that, right? Paint people with a broad brush of bigotry and xenophobia. We need to actually stop doing that. And we are not the enemy. The enemy is not any of us, right? We are supposed to be humankind, like Justin Trudeau said. So what's up with that? Let's actually start doing the things we say. What we say is say what we mean, folks. Otherwise, we don't have to look like fucking fools, right? Like I said, don't be a foolie, be a hoolie, motherfucker. Same bad time, same bad channel. Love y'all.